Hi, this is Coach Joe Lucas. Welcome to this executive briefing on the Magellan MasterMind and Network. Over the next several minutes, what I'm going to do is give you some very big picture snapshot of what the group's all about, our mission statement, what you can expect as a member, and then next steps to go ahead and start your application process. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about how Magellan came to be, because I think there's a little story here in the group. So let's talk a little bit about Magellan and its predecessor group, which was basically called the iAdvisor Mastermind. Now, for several years, I had clients ask me to, hey, put together a mastermind group, a mentor group, a study group, and because of my schedule, because of all my coaching work, it was just not feasible to make that happen. And so when I went ahead and associated with other coaches of mine, it allowed me, it freed me up to go ahead and build this mastermind group. So we started in the fall of 2013. We basically had 12 founding members. And what we did is once a quarter, we'd get together for 2 days in and around the United States. Everybody would bring their issues, their challenges, their topics, their questions, their themes. And what we would do is literally sit around a boardroom for a day and a half, and we would help each other. We would add value to each other. We would solve each other's challenges, each other's problems. We would encourage each other. We would help each other and hold each other accountable. And so that group went very, very well to this past year. We actually grew it to 18 members. In fact, we just had a meeting of this group in February. We're down in Puerto Rico, if you will, there, and basically in San Juan. And, we had this meeting. Obviously, the Department of Labor laws are just ready to come out. We see all this technology coming apart. And I put together a presentation called Advisor 2025. And so in talking about all that, the group kind of chatted. And what we realized was that what we're doing as a group, we're just scratching the surface of what this could be. So what we decided to do, and this was the group's mission statement at the time, we were going to support each other, we were going to teach each other, we were going to mastermind, and we were going to associate with like-minded people. And so, and by the way, those are the typical tenets, if you will, of any mastermind group. So with iAdvisor, with the iAdvisor Mastermind for the last 3 years, just about, we've put this group together. Very powerful. Like I said, we grew it every year. And what we realized is that we needed to go ahead and change the dynamic of the group, change the mission statement, change how we went about it, and really, because what we have is so special, we decided to go ahead and to evolve and morph the iAdvisor group into now what we call Magellan. Now, why Magellan? There's a couple of different reasons. Number one, change, whether we like it or not. The industry has been changing. Our industry is going to change more. It's going to radically change within the next several years, 5 to 10 years. Industry regulations, we've already seen a little bit of that, right, very recently. Technology, robo-advising, which is a threat, but also a tremendous opportunity if you know what to look for and how to integrate a robo-platform into your model. And then also the retirement of a lot of our colleagues. We're in a graying industry, and somebody has to take care of all these people, right? So we have advisors that are going to be retiring. We have workers and executives who are going to retire. The boomers, if you will. Everybody's read about that. And so, how do you take advantage of it? What kind of business do you need to build? What kind of business? What kind of practice? What kind of positioning do we need? And that's what Magellan's all about. It's really about that. So what I look at is this, and I'm going to talk directly to you. You have two choices, as all of us do. Choice number one, you could wait. You could wait to see what happens. You could see how it evolves. You hopefully don't wait too long. And you know what? You'll still be successful. Nothing wrong with that. You'll miss out on some tremendous opportunities, but it's not like you're going to go out of business. What I'm curious about, and my challenge to you is this: do you want to be proactive and start shaping your business today? See, what we're talking about here is not so much changing your current business, it's building a new business. So think of it this way: old factory, new factory. And so when we looked at the group at the time, iAdvisor, we realized that this has to be much more than that. And I chose Magellan very specifically. I really thought about the name. So why Magellan? It's all about exploration. It's about new worlds. It's about thinking differently. It's about destroying limiting beliefs, right? The world is flat. It's all about all that. It's about doing things that are innovative. That's what Magellan's all about. That's what this group and network and mastermind is all about. So let's talk a little bit about the group and the network. Now we call it mastermind and network. So why do we call it a network also? Because masterminds are, again, we do meetings, we do virtual meetings, and then we have a network, right, of individuals, professionals, colleagues, industry thought leaders that we have access to brainstorm, mastermind, best practices, a network of like-minded, ethical, honest, giving people, true fiduciaries, helping one another. So let me go over our mission statement for Magellan. Here it is. Bring together like-minded individual advisors, RIAs, and selected industry thought leaders. So again, colleagues and those around us. And what we're going to do is discuss, brainstorm, teach, mastermind, and associate, create innovative practice and business models, blank sheets of paper to build the future. That's what this group's all about. And to create the leadership model so you could attract talent, retain talent, get the most out of your talent. Because at the end of the day, you need two things to grow a business: systemization and talent. You have to master both. And what we're going to do at the end of all this, and why, is for you and your family. It's for your generation and your children to build a sustainable, lucrative practice model that serves you and your family for decades to come. That's the group's mission statement. So let's talk about what it looks like, right? So what does the actual model look like? So let's spend a little time and talk about membership and what you get. Okay, so here's what you can expect. So if you go through the evaluation process, the interview process, the application process, and you become a member of Magellan, here's what you're going to get. Here's what you should expect out of your membership. Number one, access. Access to live events, virtual events. So what are the live events? Twice a year, we host a multi-day mastermind meeting. We go to nice places. We're not sitting in a business hotel at the airport, I can tell you that. We go to beautiful places. I personally pick the place I want to go to, quite frankly. And we come together. Now, if some reason you can't make a meeting, we go to meeting it, and we'll stream it to you. So if something happens, and we've had this happen where family member gets sick or a member gets sick, or life just happens, right? We want you there with us. So even if you can't physically make it, we're going to have you there virtually with us. So we do 2 core mastermind meetings a year, typically in the first and the third quarters of the year. The other thing we do is an annual business planning retreat. That's in obviously the fourth quarter. Second quarter, we'll have a training event. So it'll be a multi-day training event where you and your team can come if you're a member, and we'll do training on team building, sales, marketing, anything that we think you need. So you have access to that. The other thing you have access to are these virtual meetings. So what's a virtual meeting? When a member finds an industry thought leader, whether it's about social media, compliance, marketing, team building, best practices, investor behavior, whatever of value, what we do is we'll call a meeting, a go-to meeting, a go-to webinar, and we're going to host that person. I'm going to be the host of that. And what we're going to do is get some information, let them pick, we're going to get a chance to pick that person's brain, if you will, which I think is very powerful, and we're going to learn that way. So you have the two major masterminds, business planning retreat, annual planning event, and then we do some virtual meetings throughout the year when appropriate. The other thing is we have what we call mini events. Now, what's a mini event? So a mini event would be something where either I'm going to it or one of the members is going to go somewhere, and it's and this is experience. So maybe maybe some of you go to the FPA or you go to a SEMA conference or CFP conference, and there'll be several of you in the same place, same time, get together for dinner. And we help facilitate all that. Collaborative. This is all about relationship building with the right people. So membership gives you access to it. Next, association. Who you associate with as a human being has a profound impact on your future, on your outcomes, and on your level of success. So what we do is we associate with like-minded, success-driven, ethical professionals. And this is one of the core reasons why you just can't be a member. You just can't come on in and fill out a form and give us your credit card or stroke us a check and you're in. There's a multi-stage process of interview and application, because those are the three characteristics we want. Like-minded. So what does that mean? That you're looking at things as what's possible. Success-driven. We want people that want to continue to grow. That believe that their best years are still ahead of them. And the highest thing is important is ethics. We're not here because we want to do harm. We believe in the ultimate win-win relationship, whether it's amongst peers or amongst professional to client. So again, an association with this type of group. And by the way, this is why this group is not sponsored by anybody. We don't have a broker-dealer sponsorship, a money manager sponsorship, a mutual fund sponsorship. It's for us. It's our group, our standards. We get to decide the Kool-Aid we want to drink. Nobody else. What else do you get? Intellectual capital. So part of the group, and this is why the interview process, is that a member is both a student and a teacher. We have a process called M Talks, M for Magellan, and so each member, over a period of time, will give a talk, a 15 or 20-minute talk, on something of value to the other members. You're going to teach. You're going to be taught. And there's nothing more powerful than to learn from a peer, learn from somebody who's been there, who's done it. So intellectual capital. Think about that. This group will have 1,000 years of experience in our industry. 1,000 years. How much could you really learn? How much intellectual capital is available for you if you just go ahead and ask? Next, collaboration, the collaborative innovation. We share best practices, what's working, no secret. The one thing that I've always been blown away by, quite frankly, in the current group, is how open everybody is, how open they are to share, and there's no secret. So collaborative innovation. What's working? Let's try this. Who's tried that? How did it work? What'd you do? How did you actually pull it off? Everybody shares. That's what makes it a truly great environment. If you're not a person who wants to share, we probably don't want you, to be very honest with you. The old saying, you got to give to get. This is a two-way street, not a one-way street. Remember, this is a mastermind and network, not a training program. You're not going to sit by passively and just absorb. You have to bring stuff to the table, your expertise, your best practices. And somebody says, well, Joe, I don't know if I'm expert in anything. Your experience. Trust me. I've been coaching advisors for a quarter century. I've never met a person in this industry who at least does not do something, at least one thing well. So there's always going to be that opportunity to do things. Next, community. I know what some of you saying, the last thing I need is another community to go to, right? But listen to me here. It's about relationships. You know, one of the things that I found, it really warmed my heart, is how well everybody gets along. The meals that we share, in San Juan, this last meeting we had one of my clients, one of the members flew in their quote-unquote wine guy from Bordeaux, France, and we had a private wine tasting. It was just fantastic. And we do fun things, we do meals, and it just, again, you get into this, you've never, and I say this, and I know you've never experienced this, and it's hard for me to convey it this way. The environment is just so unique, so different. The energy in the room, the vibe, right? You know, normally you go to an industry event and you know, there's always some kind of theme or overlay or if you will, always somebody trying to pull at you for different things. Not this group. It's one of the purest things we do. So you get to associate, collaborate, and have a community with like-minded ethical professionals. That, to me, you just don't get that anywhere else. And that's what Magellan's all about. Last piece, communication. So we have our own our little place on the internet, a little private message board / base camp where we share, we swap concepts, ask questions of one another, post information up there. It's our private place. There are members only. You can chat with other members, ask questions of other members, share links, ideas, forms, tools, tips, whatever. And so, we maintain those relationships even though we're not in the meeting process. We're not actually in a meeting. So now that we've talked about all those things, what's it take to be a member? Number one, you have to be referred or nominated by a current member. So if you're watching this video, guess what? Chances are you've been nominated by either myself or by one of the other members. So that's good. So if you happen upon this, somebody passed you a link, but you don't know any of the group. Probably a nice person. I'm not saying you're not a nice person. You have to be nominated. Number two, you have to be an independent advisor with 10 years experience. So let me be very clear. So it doesn't mean you have to be independent for 10 years. It just means you have to be in our space for about 10 years. And the reason why I want that is I want people that can give. No mouse on young people. I love Gen X advisors and stuff like that. But here's the reality of it. They just don't know what they don't know yet. And I need somebody that's been in the trenches for a while. Somebody who's taken the arrows. Somebody who's failed. Somebody who's got perspective. Somebody who's got wisdom. That's what we want, right? So 10 years, again, absolutely independent, but you don't have to be independent for the 10 years. In addition, we will, and we already have, quite frankly, taken on industry partners, consultants, thought leaders on a case-by-case basis. So what we want are not just advisors, but select thought leaders. So if it's compliance, technology, marketing, social media, whatever else kind of shows up, we'll look at that on a case-by-case basis. Now, on the industry partners, consultants, thought leaders, it's one of each. So we're not going to have 5 compliance consultants. We're not going to have 3 recruiters, if you will. 1. and they'll have that slot, but they have to go through the same process. So interview, approval, everything. You just don't stroke a check and you become a member. It does not work that way. So as we start wrapping this up, what you need to do is right below there's a short form. When I say real short, just name, rank, serial number, and how you got here, right? ABC. And what will happen is once you complete that, what I will do is I will contact you, or somebody from my office will contact you, and you and I will have a conversation. You and I will have a conversation. I'll answer your questions. I'll walk through everything, and to see if there's a potential fit. If there's a potential fit, what I'll ask you to do is go to the next step, which is a formal application and interview process. So where you and I will come together, we'll really go over what you want to get out of the group, what you're bringing to the group. You'll get a chance to interview with a couple of the members before everybody makes a decision. So as you can see, it's not just a come in and you're in. It takes some time. So here's what I would say to you. If any of this resonated, if any of this made sense for you, if any of this intrigued you, fill out the form. Let's have a conversation. No harm, no foul. This is not for everybody. You know, our standards are what they are, and I appreciate that. However, if this got you excited, if this got you curious, then fill out the form and let's go ahead and have that conversation. Let's go have that executive briefing. Thank you for taking the time. I look forward to speaking to you after you fill out the form. Any questions, please reach out to me. And again, this is Magellan.